What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 11th day of October, and we are dealing with the current aftermath of the massive flash crash that we saw across the board yesterday. I mean, XRP, guys, number 4 crypto, soon to be number 3 again once it gets back on top. But man, number 4 dumped 54.8% in a day, not even a day, in like an hour, in like the course of like a 6 hour total. But most of it happened all in an hour. It was crazy, crazy behavior. Absolutely manipulated. Undoubtedly, this was manipulated behavior. This was orchestrated event generated by the exchanges. Nothing more, nothing less. $2.47. There's nothing we can do about it though, right? You can bitch and moan about it if you want to, or we can pick up the pieces and move on from here. So let's try and do that. Okay, hit the like button and subscribe if that sounds good to you. $2.47 right now. 8 hours 56 minutes left in the day here. We're up about 4%, which is nice. I think the average altcoin's up a little bit too. Yeah, 3.3%. So XRP having a little bit more of a positive reaction than the average altcoin, and it is a top 5 coin. So that says something right there. I think that we're going to see a positive reaction from XRP and from a lot of different cryptos right now. Bitcoin's down today. Bitcoin's actually in the red today, and XRP's up, right? So I've actually had this theory, and I'm going to share it with you guys real quick. I've said it on a few videos today, so pardon me if you've heard it already, but my theory is I wouldn't be surprised if here Bitcoin kind of figures itself out for the coming weeks, and in that figuring out, I think XRP and altcoins as a whole will start to rally. I really do. I think we'll see a sharp move up from Ethereum and other altcoins, and I think that we really will see altcoins start to rally. And of course we will. Why now are we going to see altcoins rally? Because now nobody believes in altcoins. Out of this whole cycle, everybody's believed in altcoins. Most people have been altcoin dominant in their portfolio, not Bitcoin dominant. I'm assuming that now we're going to see some shifting, a little shifting of gears into that more Bitcoin dominant portfolio. And just as everybody forsakes their altcoin bags, that's whenever altcoins are really going to show their worth here, show their stuff. $2.47 now. Very much believe that the target areas of $13 and beyond by the end of the year are not at jeopardy at all. Crazy crash, but we ate it up just as fast as it came. It went. I wouldn't be surprised if, because today is Saturday and tomorrow Sunday, it is the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we dilly-dallied a little bit more. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw slightly lower lows than this low here. I don't believe that we go below this low. I do believe we hold that as support, but I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down a little bit before running higher. Just a little volatility to make sure that we shake out the weak hands who bought here thinking that it's an easy buy just because they bought after the wick. They didn't buy whenever it was actually time to nut up. They bought after the damage has been done. We'll shake them out and then continue to rally. Hold on real quick. $2.47 right now. I very much do believe that we're going to go higher, but first we might go lower. We look at the 1 hour time frame here. You look at the 1 hour RSI. We do have lower highs and lower lows, right? Downtrend right here, very clear downtrend. Typically these downtrends end with bullish divergence. So I would think that we do come down. We probably do see something that closes just below this low here. That's what will give us that bullish divergence. And I say just below. We might actually go, it might not be just below. It might be a decent bit below. We might be all the way down at $2. Something around, I would think, $2.30 to $2. That's the area that we're going to go to. We could bottom out right at $2.25. We could bottom out right there at $2 or even just below $2. I don't know how much of a drop it's going to be, but I would assume similar to like what we have here. It'll be fast, and then just as soon as it happens, we'll come back up, and then at that point, we'll start to move higher. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but before we can count on this pump to happen, before we can count on the true recovery to happen and moving to new all-time highs, I think we need to wait for that secondary test, that higher low test, and then once we do that, cool. Perhaps we move up first, and then we move down. But looking at the RSI, I don't really think so. I think we're more at an area to find resistance than we are at an area to continue. Stochastic suggests the same thing, and the MACD is bearish overall. 4 hour time frame here, definitely in a downtrend, right? You can see it with the lower lows, lower highs, that whole shebang there. I'm tired of people saying that this was uncalled for. And I want to say nothing in the charts would have called for this big of a drop. Absolutely not. But there were indications that the price was coming down. Right? There were well ahead of time, there were indications that the price was coming down. We were even calling for it yesterday that we would break out of this zone. I just didn't think that we'd break out all the way down here, right? Like I didn't think that's what would happen. I thought we'd break out of this zone here. I just didn't think that we'd go below that price there. Crazy stuff happened. But still, the charts were telling us that, hey, some downside's going to come. We likely do reject this oversold point, come back down, find our bullish divergence maybe tomorrow. And then going into next week, we should have some recovery going on. Stochastics look bullish, and the MACD is bearish. So you've got a bearish RSI, a bearish MACD, and a bullish stochastics. Overall, bearish. Okay. Again, the stochastics might allow us to grow or at least remain stagnant going into the rest of this day. But tomorrow, I think that we will move down. I think tomorrow is going to be a bit red. The daily RSI is also kind of in a downtrend. Weaker than it is stronger. That's for damn sure. Getting oversold, not getting overbought. But I think that here, this is probably the area that we're going to find support. XRP, for much of its existence this cycle, has not really gone below this level. In fact, let's measure the last couple of times. This is on a daily time frame. Let's measure the last couple of times that you've seen this exact area in the RSI. Sorry, I can't talk. That was dating back to April of 2024. This was dating back to September of 2023. And even here, this is dating back to August of 2023. Let's look at all these examples real quick, okay? Looking at the price. Let me blow it up here. Get it. There we go. Something like that. Hold on. There we go. Zoom in. And then we can look at this a little bit more appropriately, right? What did you do? You had a flash crash moment here where your RSI was actually just below the areas that we're at right now. What'd you do? You came back up. You saw a nice move up from a low to a high. You actually moved up 35% in about a week and a half there. You did come down. You did see lower lows, but you were also, to be completely fair, you're kind of in a downtrend. So it's different circumstances than what we have right now. We're not really in a downtrend. We're in a consolidation phase. Here, at the end of your downtrend, you found support there. You dilly-dallied for a while, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. But then on the 7th day, you started to break out, and you saw a 43% pump in like a week after that. Overall, from that low, in like the first 2 weeks, you saw a 66% pump. Then you even came back down, right? You had a low right here, and then you continue to consolidate, and then you moved higher inevitably, right? We go to the next. Did I delete them all? Hold on. I might have deleted them all. Let me bring them back. Is this it? Yes. Okay, so we still have it there. Then, is that the last one? That was the last one. Okay, so the last examples that we had all found support rather immediately. Okay, so, and that wasn't just off of the wicking low. That was off of the closing low, right? From here to there. Okay, moving up. From here to there, you moved up the next day, right? Here, you moved up the next day. Here, you moved up the coming days, right? With a little bit of stagnation in between the move up, to be fair. But I would expect that XRP probably does stagnate a little bit here, probably for about a week. And then maybe going into next week, sometime on the 16th, 17th, maybe the 15th at the earliest, we start to rally and move up higher. I would expect that we move up back to our all-time high areas very, very soon. Looking at this on a daily time frame, I think that we are more set for a bounce in this area than we are to go lower. Absolutely we are. The MACD doesn't look good. The RSI does look good here, and the stochastics look good as well, interestingly enough. Weekly time frame, stochastics are at an area to bounce. The RSI is also at an area to bounce here. We've bounced actually right in this area once, twice, 3 times before, found resistance here before. We've actually bounced right in this area, and assuming that tomorrow, we have a day and 9 hours left in this week, assuming that tomorrow closes around here, we're going to be at this exact area that we've bounced from the past few times. Stochastics are at an area to bounce, and the MACD's cross red, but who cares? It's bullish overall on the weekly time frame. Overall, my friends, if we're looking at this for what it is, I think XRP is going to be fine. I think that was a big flash crash fake out, and the monthly time frames, right, have kind of reset themselves. I think that we're ready to go. I really do think that we're ready to go. If we look at the all-time high from the 2018 high to the low in March 2020, high to low, the next intended target area would be $8.37. I have a hard time imagining that after a multi-cycle consolidation phase, I have a hard time imagining that you stop at your first target area, especially after a crash like this. This was to shake out the weak hands, to let the strong hands load up. I find it interesting that 24 hours ago, Morgan Stanley restrictions on crypto were dropped, so their wealth clients can actually own crypto funds. I think it's kind of interesting that their wealth clients were allowed to own crypto funds the same day, right before this drop happened. I have an interesting theory about that, right? The elites in crypto got washed out, and the elites in institutions got washed in. They came in heavy. And with this little reaming, this washing here, there's going to be less traffic going higher. The people who bought here are not going to be selling at the first target. We're absolutely going to see this $13.56 target and beyond by the end of the year. That's the expectation, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if XRP going into the end of this month saw new all-time highs. Okay, so that's my thoughts. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.